So, have you ever really stopped to think about what it means to visit a wild place? I mean, not just to look at it or take a picture, but to actually take part in its survival. Well, today, we're diving into a story from the Maine Woods that kind of flips the script on travel, showing how it can be this powerful tool for preserving one of the last great forests in North America.
Just look at this. This is the western Maine mountains. We're talking about a region that covers more than 5 million acres. It is one of the biggest, most connected temperate forests left on the planet. I mean, not just in the US, but in the world. The scale is just staggering, right? And its future, well, it really depends on a very specific, a very deliberate way of thinking. And any journey into a place like this, it really starts with a transition. You know that feeling? The moment the smooth asphalt gives way to a bumpy dirt road. It's like a signal that you're leaving one world behind and entering another one. A place that just operates on a completely different rhythm. Okay, so our story gets really tangible right here, in a super remote part of Maine that's known as the 100-mile wilderness. We're going to zoom in on one specific spot on the map to really get our heads around the bigger picture.
So this place, it isn't just some lodge that happens to be in the woods. It's a lodge of the woods. It's sitting right inside this massive piece of land, 114,000 acres, that's owned and managed by the Appalachian Mountain Club, or AMC. And listen, this land isn't a national park. It's actively managed, conserved forest land. And that difference, it's everything.
When you're out here, the quiet is, well, it's profound. The closest town is miles and miles down that dirt road. There is zero cell service. But that isolation, it's not an accident, and it's definitely not an inconvenience. It's the whole point. It's this intentional separation that's designed to just immerse you in the wildness of it all.
Which, brings us to a really fascinating question. If the main goal is to protect a wild ecosystem, why on earth would you build modern cabins and a beautiful lodge way out here? I mean, isn't that a total contradiction? Well, the answer reveals this whole new way of thinking about conservation.
Yeah, this isn't just about one lodge. Medawisla is just a single piece of a much, much larger strategy. It's called the Maine Woods Initiative, and it's basically a blueprint for how we can interact with and maybe even help heal a working forest. So here's the key. The Maine Woods Initiative, or MWI, is like a three-legged stool. First, you've got sustainable forestry that actually generates revenue. Second, you have guaranteed public access for recreation, hiking, paddling, you name it. And third, it all supports the local economy. It's this vision where conservation and commerce aren't fighting each other, they're actually partners.
And what you see right away is how different this is from big industrial logging. The land that AMC bought had been heavily logged for over a century, so their whole approach is about restoration. They harvest way less timber than the forest grows each year. They intentionally leave big old trees, and even dead trees for wildlife habitat. They're trying to create a healthier, more diverse forest for the future.
And check this out. This isn't just some nice idea. The data actually proves it's working. In just 10 years, the amount of wood, the literal biomass on their land, went up significantly. So the forest is getting thicker, it's getting healthier, it's getting more mature, all while they're still actively harvesting timber. It's pretty amazing.
This quote right here, it really gets to the heart of their whole philosophy. Could they make more money if they just harvested more aggressively? Oh, absolutely. But they choose not to. That foregone profit they talk about is a deliberate investment in the health of the forest. It's a conscious choice to put the long-term well-being of the land first.
Okay, so let's see how this all connects, because this careful stewardship on these 114,000 acres, it's about protecting something way, way bigger. It's time to zoom out and really understand what's at stake here.
So we're back to that 5 million acre landscape. This huge connected forest is like the ecological engine of the entire region. It's the critical link that connects ecosystems from the northern Appalachians all the way up into Canada. But it's facing this silent, creeping threat. And that threat is called habitat fragmentation. It's what happens when we start slicing and dicing a big, healthy ecosystem with stuff like roads, power lines, and subdivisions. Each little cut might seem small on its own, but when you add it all up, the effect can be just devastating. And this visual just illustrates it perfectly. On the left, you've got this beautiful, continuous, unbroken canopy. On the right, a landscape that's been poked full of holes and cut into pieces. It might still look green from a distance, but for a lot of animals, it's not a functional home anymore. It's just a bunch of lonely, isolated islands. And it happens in slow motion. It starts with just one road. That's the perforation. Then houses and driveways pop up along that road. That's the dissection. And before you know it, the once whole forest is this patchwork quilt of little green spaces unable to support the life it used to.
And this is why that unbroken forest is so ridiculously important. This map from the Nature Conservancy shows climate resilience, basically the ability of a landscape to keep supporting life as the climate changes. And look, the western Maine mountains are glowing bright green. It is one of the most resilient landscapes east of the Mississippi, precisely because it is so big and so connected.
And hey, this isn't some abstract idea. This resilience provides a critical haven for all these wide-ranging animals that are just icons of the North Woods. These guys need huge, unbroken territories to hunt and breed and just survive.
The Canada lynx, the American marten, the moose, these guys aren't just symbols of Maine, they're indicators of a healthy, functioning ecosystem. So when you protect their home, you're protecting the integrity of the whole landscape. And fragmentation, it's a direct threat to their very existence.
Okay, so this brings the whole story full circle. We started at this remote little lodge, we zoomed out to this huge continental-scale challenge, and now we're bringing it right back to us, to the individual. What is our role in all of this?
Seriously, when you travel to a place like this, are you just a visitor passing through, or could you be something more? The model that the Maine Woods Initiative is built on suggests a totally different way of thinking about it.
Think about it like this. On one hand, there's travel as consumption. You go, you see the stuff, you use the amenities, you take your photos, you leave. But on the other hand, there's travel as participation. In this model, your visit is an active contribution. You are literally helping to fund the restoration of the very ecosystem that you're there to enjoy. You're becoming a steward. Building Medawisla Lodge was a $7 million bet on this very idea. The money that guests spend doesn't just pay for a comfy bed and good food, it gets funneled directly back into the ecological forestry, the trail work, and the land conservation that's keeping this whole forest intact.
So, in the end, places like this really challenge us to think differently. They suggest that giving people access to wild places, when it's done with real intention and a clear purpose, it's not a threat to them. In fact, it might just be one of the most powerful ways we have to ensure their survival, by turning every single visitor into a partner in the great work of keeping a forest unbroken.